Hello, everyone. This is Cameron Teeter. I am the Community Agriculture Director at the Athens Land Trust in Athens, Georgia. This is a workshop today we're having as part of our Community Garden Network. We're going to have a total of 6 trainings, so this is the second one in the series. We're doing it via Zoom today because of the risk to getting everyone together for a live workshop during the COVID crisis. So I will be doing this remotely from my office and home office, and then we'll be adding another guest. Looks like he's trying to join with some problems, so I may have to pause this for a minute, but let me see if I can have him join, and we will continue. This workshop is actually entitled Turning a Profit. So this is ways that you can actually create supplemental income with things that you grow or products you can make, value-added products from the garden. So let me pause this and see if I can get our guest speaker to join. Okay. Okay, all right, we've resumed. Okay, now we're recording again. I just wanted to introduce my guest speaker today for this part of the workshop. This is Ken Paris. He has started or developed a web app for producers and growers to connect producers and growers to people looking for produce. So thanks, Ken, for joining today. And I'm going to be sharing my screen, and so he can kind of go through the app for us. So let's see. Okay, hopefully this works. Okay, sharing is paused. Bring your shared window to the front. Okay, let's see if this works. Click exit to full screen. Okay, can you see that, Ken?
I do see the screen.
Okay, I'm going to present from the beginning. I'm going to go through a couple here. So this is where we are. We're talking about selling our produce online. So this may be easier than you think. So Ken's going to show us a way that makes it easier to do that with his app. So EIEIO is the name of the app, Turning Garden Abundance into Cash. So so here's the little first image here of the app. Can you see that, Ken?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So you can just take it from here.
All right, great. Well, thank you, Cameron, and thanks for inviting us to join your group today. And I appreciate this opportunity to share with them about EIEIO. EIEIO is an app that is in the Apple App Store. It's a free download, and it operates on iPhone or iPad It's a virtual market, so it's a consumer to consumer market for selling produce, fruits, nuts, proteins, anything that's homemade, anything that you're creating that you want to distribute locally in your community. And it really is sort of a community focused and centered app, although it will operate anywhere in the world. We are a member of Georgia Grown. It is something that we have worked with the Georgia Department of Agriculture with, and Commissioner Black has met with us a few times, and everybody there is excited about it because they see the real potential for this to create a sort of a dynamic fabric for community gardens and small farms and even people that just have large home gardens. So this is the sign-in screen. The way the app works, you download the app, and then to begin with, you can sort of navigate around the app and get a feel for it. You can look at the buy screens or sell screens or discover screens. At the point that you want to either buy something or sell something, it will prompt you to sign in. It'll take you back to this this screen, the signing screen, and you can see you can sign in with Apple. So if you have an Apple Apple sign in, it's simply one touch. If not, it gives you the opportunity to create an account, basically your email address and password, and then a phone number. And the phone number is used for security, for authentication and two-factor verification, and then for communication with between the seller and the buyer. So once you get logged in, if you are a seller, which in this case you would all be, the first time as you look along the bottom row of the app, there are 4 main prompts, and that second one is sell. So the first time you're using the app logged in and you choose sell, it will connect you to this Stripe gateway. Now, Stripe is a payment processing portal. It's similar to PayPal or Venmo or others. It's a global organization. They're the reason we chose them is they're one of the best. They have the sort of some of the best security in place for transactions and processing. If you have a Stripe account, then it's simply a matter of linking. You just touch sign into Stripe and it will link your Stripe account with your EIEIO account. If you don't have a Stripe account already, it's as simple as going to their website, stripe.com. It takes about 10 minutes. You put in your information, your bank account where you want your sales revenue to flow and other information, and then come back and link it. Once it's linked, then in the future, you don't do anything. But again, understand that EIO is providing the marketplace, but all your banking transactions and payments will be outside of the app. Those are handled by Stripe, again, in a very secure environment. Mm-hmm. So once you get registered with Stripe, it'll take you back to the sell pages, and this is where you can add your products for sale. It'll prompt you to create a garden. So if you go into your account, and this is good because, and maybe that's the first step. So after you've got your account set up, after you've linked Stripe, if you go under the account tab, it'll allow you to select garden. And if you don't have a garden in place yet, then this is where you would enter it. And so two things can happen. You'll name your garden. It can be your name. It can be a creative name for your garden. And then it will allow you either to geolocate, meaning the Google map will pop up and you can drop a pin and it will populate this address. Or if you have a pickup location, let's say, that's different from your garden location, you can actually type in and enter that pickup location, and that becomes your garden, so that the people that buy from you after they make a purchase will get direction to go to that site. And by the way, you can set up multiple gardens. So if part of the week you want to sell from your garden, which is where you're growing, and then on Saturday, say you want to have things just picked up at a market, then you can choose two gardens and you can identify those and post as you add products for sale. After you get your garden set up, then you'll go back to the sell page, which is that top arrow, top left arrow. And when you get to the sell page, there's a number of fields there. The top field is where you select an image. Yeah, that was right. That screen you were on.
Next one here.
So this is the page where you will add your products. And so the little gray square, when you select that plus, EIEIO will give you two options. Option one is to choose a image from your photo library. So if you want to take a lot of pictures of your produce or your products and you want to enhance those or crop them or anything and get them just right, then you can do that. And then when you're ready, select those from your library and it'll populate them here. And you can add multiple photos of products on each item you add. Or you can take your phone out to your garden or your iPad, and when you hit plus, it gives you the option of using the camera. And so you can actually take photos of your produce on the vine. So even before you harvest it, you can show it getting ready to be harvested and post it that way. And maybe you experiment with those and find out the best balance for you. I mean, for me, there's something really enticing about seeing a ripe red tomato on the vine, knowing that it's not yet off, and if I buy it, it could be off in mine. Then you'll enter your product name. There's a drop-down menu that comes up, and you sort of select from that. We've begun populating produce and fruits, vegetables, and proteins. If something that you've got is not in that list, please let us know right away and we'll be glad to add it. And then you select your price, and the price is by item rather than by weight. And so just, you can decide how you want to price your product. You choose the individual price for it and then post that there. And then quantity is how many you have in stock. So if you have 50 tomatoes, then put 50 there. Every time you make a sale, that the EIEIO will automatically recalibrate so that anybody else that's in the market looking to buy will see what your quantity is until it hits zero. Then you'll be notified and they will know that you don't have any left for sale. You can always go back in. If you put in 50 and then you sell 45 and you've got 5 left, but then the next week you've got 20 more, then you just go back in and up it to 25. Then you see the garden address. That's where you can change gardens. You can use that place to select. And then the bottom field is product description. And this is your opportunity to write as much as you would like about your products, your garden, how you grow, who you are, where you are, just your philosophy about gardening, anything you want to put here that will help give the buyers more, just more insight into why they may want to buy your product and buy from you. Once this is done, click add at the top and your item will be posted. You will be in the market. And then buyers who are interested will be able to see your item and hopefully choose yours and purchase and put it in their basket. There should be, is there a next slide for that, camera? Yeah, so this is what the screen would look like after you and others have posted items for sale. And this is what buyers would see. So you see the left tab, buy, is the one that's highlighted. So if if I'm looking for fresh vegetables on a Tuesday afternoon and I pull up the app, this is what I might see. This is a scrolling list, so I can go up and down that list. If I see an item I'm interested in, I can tap on it. I can read about it. If I like it, I can put it in my cart, or I can buy it at that moment. Then I can come back to the list and continue to shop. The third tab over is called Discover. And this is also for buyers. And this is a map. And so if a buyer is also, maybe they don't know they want tomatoes specifically, or corn or cucumbers, but they're just sort of looking around for fresh produce. When they choose the Discover tab, it brings up a map and it will show them pins that are near them. So you see that little red pin, that's an example. So, ideally when many sellers are in the marketplace, there would be a lot of pins and a buyer could zoom in on that map and find the ones that are closest to them and begin to explore what those what those gardens that are in their community and close by have available. So those are the two ways that a buyer can find things that they would like to purchase. When the buyer gets ready to purchase and they click the buy tab, it pushes them also into Stripe. And this is where, like any other e-commerce transaction, they will put in a credit card number and their information. It will provide two-factor authentication for them, and then they they select buy and a payment is made. Yeah, that's okay. So that's the screen that the buyer will see. You see they can also choose to remember me, and in the future they don't have to enter their credit card information. But again, this is at this point, and you see at the very bottom of the screen it says Stripe. All this is done outside of EIEIO in a very secure environment, and so both the sellers and the buyers are protected, and all their information is secure. Then once they hit the pay button, the 430, then this is the app you get. I mean, the message. This is the text message that will show up for you, and it's to let you know that something has been sold, and it's a prompt for you to go into your app and see which of your products have been sold. The buyer will also get a text message and a confirmation in the app, and that confirmation for them will include two pieces of information, or two links. One will be a link to your garden, and so when they tap that link, it'll bring up for them the garden address, and they can locate it in a map to see where the items will be picked up. And the other is text the seller. And by clicking that, they then get a text screen, and they can send you a text that says, "Hey, this is Ken. I just bought 5 tomatoes. I'd like to arrange to come pick them up." And then you enter into a dialogue with them and make arrangements for how and when they can pick up what they purchased from you. So ideally, this becomes a very smooth process, something that is readily available. The great thing about EIEIO is that it's 7 days a week. So the market, your neighborhood market is truly open 7 days a week if you use EIEIO. It's really we see it as a sort of a way to boost and help farmers markets, even because if a grower works with buyers, they can start to post things that they're going to bring to market on Saturdays, and the buyers can go ahead and make their purchases and their selections, and then that lets the grower harvest more closely to what they will actually sell on that Saturday market. Or let's say they get to a Saturday market and for some reason, which we hope never happens and never happens often, but for some reason they have, markets closing and they haven't sold everything. Then all that grower needs to do is pick up their phone, open EIEIO, and start to post, just take pictures of what they've got right there and post it, and instantly their product is back in the market and for sale again, even though the Saturday market has closed. So we see it as really sort of just another channel for, all types of growers, small farms, and I said community gardens, and then also just people, that might have a large home garden.
Yeah.
So this is the way that the app functions, and then the last is sort of the accounting, EIEIO, and working with Stripe. There's the normal transaction fee that is assessed, like with Square or any other payment processor, and then there's a 10% added to that for the support of the servers and the app architecture. And you probably know this from other things you've done, but running servers is actually very expensive. And so this just goes to keep that market open, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. But this is the sort of a statement that you get in your Stripe account. It'll show you, what you sold, how much you sold it for, and then how the fee breaks down. One thing we do that is unique in EIEIO to all other sites is the normal transaction fee for any of the processor, Square, PayPal, and others, is a 2.9% or 3% plus a flat 30% fee. And this is important for, particularly for vendors who have small value transactions, because if I'm buying something for $100, then that 30 cents isn't so much. But if my customer is only spending $3 or $4, then the 30 cents can, sort of quickly add up if I have a lot of those transactions. So we move that over to the buyer side. So when the buyer makes a purchase, they actually pay that 30-cent fee. And the only thing that's being added in with the transaction cost to the seller is the 2.9% fee that Stripe charges. So we think that's a way to sort of help share the burden of the transaction cost between the seller and the buyer, because it's convenience for both. The great thing about EIEIO is there's no fee to download. It's a free app in the App Store. There are no setup costs. You don't have to pay subscription fees like some e-commerce sites. You can download it today, start selling today, and then the money will flow straight into your bank account through Stripe after your transactions are completed.
That's
so
great.
What did I leave out, Cameron?
Right. No, I think that's it. I think that's important to know. It costs nothing to try it. But, you have some extra produce this summer, some extra tomatoes, put them on there, and just, it doesn't cost anything to put them on the site. So I think that's great.
And one last point about EIEIO, as we were building this marketplace and developing it, obviously we researched the space quite a bit, and it turns out that in the area of gardening, the fastest segment of gardening is food gardening, and this was even before what occurred this year with the pandemic. So that number has spiked even more, I'm certain. But in the space of food gardening, the fastest growing segment is 18 to 34-year-olds. So this is a demonstrated interest by the very group of people that live on their phones. Mm-hmm. And so these are the kind of people that you will reach through EIEIO that may or may not be on some of your other channels. And so we hope that EIEIO provides a great access to that growing and really vibrant new segment of people that want to come to farmers markets.
Yeah, that's great. That's good news. Well, that sounds great. And we're going to send this out to our community garden network and keep sharing it with our local growers and even our backyard producers. And hopefully we'll get some activity out there for you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And the website is eieiioit.com. And then also there's a email if you need to reach us. Please reach out. We'd love to talk with you. If you download the app, let us know. For now, through August, we're refunding all transaction costs. So if you do start using EIEIO when you download it, send us an email. We'll register you, and then any transaction costs you incur through the 1st of August will be refunded to you.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks again, Ken, for
All
joining us.
right. Thank you, Cameron.
Okay, have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, let's see. Whoop. Do I need to, I don't want to stop video, do I? I don't want to hang up on the recording here. I'm trying to stop sharing my screen. Okay. Well, we'll just go back to the top here if we can. Nope. Here we go. Sorry, I was going to pause this. Stop share. Okay, I'm gonna pause. Okay, so I'm going to continue sharing my screen here so I can go back to our slides. Here we go. Okay. So I'm going to present from the beginning. So going back to this slide, I wanted to make sure. So this is a couple ways we can talk about selling produce directly to customers. So one of the ways is at our West Broad Farmers Market. So we do have a brokered table, and I'll get into that in a little bit further. The app EIEIO, which we just heard about from Ken, hosts produce sales directly from the community garden. And in our last training, we talked about how you can get a special use permit to hold sales in your garden. And there's restrictions on that. We'll go over them, review that again. And another way that some people do sales directly when you have excess produce is just to have an honor system of just having a stand and a money box, or asking people to Venmo or PayPal you some money for the produce. So these are a couple ways. We'll talk more in depth. So we talked about the app, and then now we're going to talk about our farmers market, our West Broad Farmers Market. We are now currently holding a virtual market. So we have online sales with a Saturday pickup. We're not having a physical market yet because of the safety issues. So, but we do like to work with our community gardens. And if people in our community garden network have excess produce they'd like to sell at our market, we could work with our market manager with that, because we do have a token system when we do our market. So there is a little bit of education that needs to go, in order to understand the system. So the training system, and also who is allowed to use our EBT tokens. So those tokens are doubled. And the green tokens are fresh fruits and vegetable tokens, and they can only be used to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables. So that's important that everyone has a clear understanding of that token system before they sell. So that our West Broad Farmers Market manager, Ellie Adams, would be the person to contact. And I've listed her contact here at the bottom. So anyone's interested, please contact her. Some of the requirements is that the produce is grown chemical free, so no pesticides, no herbicides, no insecticides, synthetic fertilizers, which we always encourage in our gardens, but that's one of the requirements. So what we have at the market, we have what we call our brokered table. So we have a table for beginning farmers, backyard, grower, not really backyard growers, because really one of the requirements is certified naturally grown, which our farms are, but for our community garden network, we could incorporate excess produce that they have on our broker table. So we have a table that for people that are just starting, that don't have an abundance, maybe don't have enough to create a full table, or maybe the harvest that week was a little bit slow, but you don't want to show up with just a little bit of produce. So it's basically we combine various farms on one table, and then we man that table. So they just have to come, drop it off, pick it up at the end of the day. They don't have to stay there for the whole market. So that's a model that we're going to be incorporating this year. So if anyone's interested, contact Ellie. So the other thing we're going to talk about is creating value-added products. So a value-added product is when you take a raw agriculture product and you turn it into something else. The way that you could grow cucumbers and turn them into pickles. So there's lots of, we work with the vendors a lot with this, and there's a lot of questions around this. Mostly people want to know what kind of license are required, and what things can they create in their home. Um, and so people ask, can you make a value product at home? And the answer is, it may be possible depending on the product. And what licenses will I need? They will most likely need a cottage food license, but some items are not able to be produced under cottage food license in your home kitchen and may require a commercial kitchen to produce those. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but the USDA issues the licenses. There's a link there to the site. And the cost for that is a one-time $100 application, and then a $50 annual renewal, unless you have if you're not on city water, if you have a private water source, there's $100 annual water testing fee, and that is involved. Some additional resources I've just listed here: the cottage food license information, USDA list of frequently asked questions around cottage food license, and there's a good 30-minute USDA video on starting a home cottage food business. So there's a links there if you're interested. We missed a few here. So here's a list of some of the items that can be created for a value-added product listed here. So baked goods such as loaf of breads, rolls, biscuits, cakes, pastries and cookies, candies and confections, fruit pies, jams, jellies, preserves, dried fruit, dried herb seasoning mixtures, cereals, trail mixes, granola, coated or uncoated nuts, vinegar, flavored vinegar, popcorn balls, and cotton candy. So those are some of the things that is allowed under a cottage food license to create at home. And then there's some additional resources there, including ServSafe, which is a food handling license, which also can be done online. And then here's some of the restrictions. So basically, once you get into what is allowed, it really has a lot to do with the acidity of the product. So things like jams and jellies have a high sugar content, so that's allowed. But things like apple butters and other butters are not allowed under the cottage food license to be created. You cannot create salsas or hot sauce or barbecue sauce with a cottage food license. Those also have to be created in a commercial kitchen. So that's one of the questions we get a lot, is if they can make things like, and also things like preserves. So if you're gonna just canning or jarring vegetables is also not allowed for resale under cottage food. That would have to be a commercial kitchen. Okay. No, I just keep. So yes, so here's the kind of a limitation on sales and products. So another thing to understand is that when you're under a cottage food license, you can really only sell directly to consumers for non-profit events or through internet sales. You cannot sell commercially. So you could not create a product under a cottage license and try to sell that product directly to retailers. And then the last, I feel like we missed another. Nope, I guess that's it. So when we're talking about creative value-added products, we're talking about like creating jams and jellies. A lot of times in our community gardens, we don't have abundance of space. Space is always maybe an issue if you're going to be creating a product, but there are some possibilities there. So if anyone is interested in learning more about this, another great resource I don't have listed here is our extension office. Jackie Dallas at our Athens area extension office also handles a lot of information on ServSafe and food handling, and she's a great resource. And then the other ways that we talked about, a little bit more self-explanatory, creating hosting sales directly from your community garden. So as we learned in our other training, the city does have a restriction on that. You can only do, I think it was 3 times a year with a special use permit. You must apply through the city for that. There's another way. and then maybe having just a stand and just having, or even just a, a little area of the garden, and just put a little sign up that says, produce, extra produce, leave in a donation, leave, $1 per item, or whatever, you feel comfortable doing, or even if it's free. It's another way of getting food out into the community. It's another way to find home for excess produce. So for our farmers market, through our app, online sales, directly to the community, from the community garden. And then, and this last slide is just saying that, any leftover produce that isn't sold or given away is always welcomed at our Northeast Georgia Food Bank, especially these days with the pandemic and people, high numbers of people being unemployed, and food access being a big issue. They're overwhelmed right now with distributing food, so they would be more than welcome to take extra produce this year, any time of the year, really. They also have encourage a program called Plant an Extra Row, where people in their gardens intentionally plant a row or an area that they know they're going to go ahead and donate that to the food bank. So there's just the times for drop off and the address there. So keep that in mind too. If you just have an extra produce you can't find homes for, please think about bringing it to the food bank. Okay, I think this is the last one. So I will be reaching out to people after I send this out, and we can have kind of a question and answers for the people that weren't able to join live today. I appreciate everyone watching this video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Cameron@athenslandtrust.com is my email address, and I'd love to hear some feedback from you and any other ways I can help support community gardens. All right, have a great day. Thanks.